welcome to another broadcast of The Curious Mind of Raquel. I am your favorite mermaid mystic and medium, and so today I wanted to do a little channeled reading on, are you ready? I wanted to do it on the backlash of the Cracker Barrel incident. Okay, so the only things that I know of is my dear beloved Jeffrey Sean told me, and I thought it was a joke, and he said to me last night, oh my goodness, golly darling, do you know what they've done to the Cracker Barrel? And I was like, no, I think that's absolutely got to be a joke, until I saw it on the YouTube, and there was several videos that was like, oh, the rebranding of Cracker Barrel, and I was like, oh, it's actually real, because I thought there's no way on heaven's earth that someone would do that to such a lovely little restaurant. And now obviously I don't know anything about it, but I wanted to channel why they rebranded, what we can learn from it, and what will be the ultimate prediction of what will happen with Cracker Barrel. Okay, so initially what the first thing that is coming up is a very masculine, not necessarily masculine person. It could be a little bit of both, okay? It feels very much as though there's this authoritative, maybe it's a particular board, or I'm hearing conglomeration of masculine and feminine, but I can see a conference room table, and I can see loads of people. Now, there is masculine, but there's also loads of feminine. Now, when I say feminine, the energy from the feminine is coming across to me as very masculine, very egocentric. These are the words that are coming up. Very haughty, very much aggressive is another word that's coming up. I can hear take a stance. We need to take a stance. It feels very much as though the masculine that are involved almost feel as though their voice, because I can see them going like this, you know, that their voice isn't being heard, but this is an entire, like a community, like a committee of some sort. And it feels very much that like I said, the feminine is very much the aggressor. It feels very power hungry. This is what it feels. Very power hungry, very assertive, very aggressive, very like not thinking. I think what it is because it feels very much like these particular women want their say. Like, why don't we try this? Like, this is what we need to do next. You know, sort of almost running over, like I'm hearing run of the mill, or running over the masculine. The actual, because I feel as though the masculine is sort of very gentlemanly and like old school in a way. Because I can see them, and the way that they're dressed even is very it's very southern, you know, not old-fashioned or anything, but more like, say for example, if you were to go to Florida, one of the golf courses or something, it looked like a partake polo and, you know, some trousers, and, you know, maybe even wearing a ball cap. And I feel as though these feminines they aggressively overran the opinion of the masculine. And the masculine, the reason that they didn't stand their ground as much, because I do believe that there's people in the company that are having a problem with it. They know this, that you've actually just sunk the ship, is what I'm hearing. You actually sunk the ship. There's no coming back from this. And I can hear I told you so, because wasn't there, it plummeted in their in the capitalization of how much money they've lost or something. I thought I heard that it was over 100 million, and that was only on a 24-hour period. And they spent, what did they spend, like I mean, millions upon millions upon millions, hundreds of millions on removing all of the old-timey kind of like paraphernalia sort of things that they had, you know, all of the beautiful antiques and all of that, you know, removing all of those, unloading those, which seems a travesty in my opinion, because you're removing lineage, you're removing heritage, you're removing the thread of America, you know, in a sense. I mean, from the southern aspects of it, because Cracker Barrels are only in the southern United States. You know, they're not all over, and it feels very much as though this wasn't a thought out plan, is what I'm hearing. It was like sort of on a whim. It feels very kind of, you know, fad oriented. You know, this is trendy, and it feels very forward, like really quickly, like let's just do it. And like once we get the go ahead, or once we like bulldog these people into believing, or that this idea is really good, that they're going to just like really, really quickly want to scramble to change everything really, really quickly. Almost as if they're worried because of them knowing if we got backlash, that at least we could say we already put our stamp of approval on it. We got our way. It sort of sounds like it very, very much sounds as though it's quite catty, quite domineering and aggressive, and it feels very bulldogish, like we're going to aggressively take this over, and this is what we're doing because we're here now, and this is what we're doing. And it feels very, very sterile. It feels, their personalities, whoever these people are, these women, are very, I'm hearing demasculating. I'm hearing trauma, and I'm hearing very much wounded spirits. It's a power play. It was a power play. And they didn't care about the money. The money was not even an issue. It was like, we want what we want. And that's how it sounds, very selfish and ego-centered. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, Spirit, bring me back to that. Okay, so what's the point of it? So it was very much just, it was an ego play. It was very much sort of like a spoiled brat, you know, wanting their way, and they don't care what the cost is. They don't care if it brings the whole thing down. They don't really care. They'll be off on their merry way. They'll get another job somewhere else if it didn't pan out, if it doesn't work out. They don't really care. It wasn't about the money. It was about a power play on, we're going to get what we want, and this is how it's going to go down. And you're going to agree because we're going to cause you problems. We'll cause you problems. If we have to say sexual harassment, if we have to say this, if we have to say that, in order for you to bow down, it's sort of like, you know, if you're on a jury and you have one person or two people holding out, and you sit there and work them, right, until you convince them of your particular idea. And so I can just kind of see these people just like washing their hands of it, these particular masculines, which I see about 2 or 3. And they're just like, okay, you can't tell them anything. They're just going to have to see it for themselves. And this was the reasoning for it. So it had nothing to do with money, but it's going to cost them immensely. Because I don't think, because if they were to try and, so what the outcome would be, what is the outcome going to be? Okay, so I can see, because I'm seeing a scrambled egg, I can see them scrambling. Saying, for example, they're going to walk it back. Oh no, we're going to keep this. And oh, we decided we're only going to do these particular stores, these particular restaurants. It'll be this kind of theme to bring in the new genre of people, or the new hip, trendy young kids, or whatever. But I'm thinking they're going to try and walk it back. There'll be certain cities, certain places in America, in the United States, that they will not end up doing that. But what's going to happen is, from the top, from the head up, they're going to see that you've already done so much damage, like you've lost us so much money. And I can see there's going to be, I can see 3 to 6 of those women, the feminine, will go on their merry way. They'll leave this company and they'll go. Well, they'll be forced out basically, but they won't really care because it was all about an agenda. They had an agenda. They wanted to be heard. They wanted to be listened to, and you're going to do this. And so they basically got their way, but it's going to cost this company, because I don't see this company ever fully coming back. I do not see it fully coming back. But what I do see happening, here is what I do see happening. This is actually going to be a beautiful example of how the universe always will equal and balance things out. Because what this will do is show people once again that relying on, because it's a wholesome restaurant, it was sort of supposed to take a person back to the old time of their life, when they were children, and the old aspect of old country, and southern meal, hospitality, kindness, all of those threads. And so what it's going to actually do is benefit the American people very, very well if you look at it in this positive aspect, which will be, it will cause other people, these small little towns that perhaps had the Cracker Barrel, and when that goes awry, they'll then take up and want to create their own little mom and pop little restaurants again. And it will create this nostalgia for these little communities, little homes, because I've been telling you, and I've predicted this for over a decade, that was confirmation there, that we're going to go back to the old way of things that were lovely and of good report and pleasant and kind-hearted. People will be on their front porch swinging and rocking chairs, and we'll go back to knitting and helping each other as a community, and it will become more of a place to where, oh, I know what neighbor so-and-so, neighbor Jim is doing, and oh, the Mansfield family down the street, oh, they went on vacation up to the Carolinas for a couple of days to go see their youngins. That's how it's going to go back. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to step into, the 19th century again, but what you will see is classic cars coming back, growing our own food. We've seen it. We've seen this happening, the cottagecore. We've seen this happening, but it's going to continually even go deeper than that. And we will be able to eventually govern our own lands. We will govern our own places. We won't even need presidents anymore. We will govern our own states. And we will go back to taking care of one another as communities, and it will be very rural, and it will be lovely and wonderful. And so this is actually just the tumble down of the effects of this, the world controlling everything, or, the politics and the different things, because it feels very political in the sense that, once something is not built on a strong foundation, it must crumble and fall. It might take longer in certain areas, and it might take more work, but it will eventually crumble because it is not built on a strong foundation. And so this is once again what we need to learn, is remember that we want to build our strength on our own foundation, building ourselves up so that we're not influenced and emotionally inept when something happens. We get a president that we don't like, or this particular company goes out of business, or this person irates me, causes me to go, 0 to 10, and I hate them. You might even throw out the word hate and hatred and vengeance and all these unkind things that are absolutely pinched off from our inner knowing and our inner being. And so what we must always remember is to use these as examples. For example, if it outraged someone, that we're not having a Cracker Barrel, because there's many peoples that are outraged, that you can't put your trust and faith in other people. You can't put it in President Trump. You can't put it in Biden. You can't put it in Kamala. You can't put it in the Clintons. You can't put it, do you understand? You can't put it in King Charles. You can't put your trust and your faith and everything that you stand for as a person, your sovereignty. Do not put your happiness and the fate of your life and it being a determining factor of how you are happy or not happy, because you will always be disappointed, my darlings. And this is what, once again, the universe is showing it. So sometimes it's through force because we won't listen. So we have to be given these experiences and opportunities to fine-tune ourselves, to get into alignment, to remember who we are, that we are a god and we are goddesses, and that we don't care what other people are doing because it has no effect on us if we are in alignment. Nothing can affect us. We're unaffected, okay? But as long as we're putting our devotion and trust and energy and all of this kind of stuff in other things outside of ourselves, once again, we will always be disappointed. We will always be unhappy because we're the only ones that can bring ourselves happiness and joy and delight. And so if that is one thing that I can surely predict, I know that more than anything. So it's very unfortunate. I happily say I cook my own meals. So I am a very Southern cook anyway. So I don't really go to the Cracker Barrel very often, but I always did love it. But mind you, I would not go there now because it just looks very unappealing. And aesthetically, you know me, I'm an artist, so everything means something like that to me. My surroundings are very, very influenced by my life. That's why I have to live in a 19th century house and dress 19th century. I mean, it's just very important for me. And so anyway, I am a very rather old mermaid. I'm 253 years old. So I hope that you enjoyed this and derived some benefit. It was a little light and airy, but I thought it would be quite lovely on a Friday. And I hope that you enjoyed it. And as always, I'm most affably yours until my next swim. Cheers, darlings. Toodle pip.